I tell my greetings to Your Holiness, the Catholicos of the Church in India, Moran Mar Baselius Martum Paulus II. I'm very happy that I have this possibility to tell my greetings to all of you, because when I met the Catholicos when I met you yourself in Berlin and in Kottayam, both cases of the meeting were an ecumenical occasion. In Berlin it was a meeting with all the Oriental patriarchs of the Miaphysite family of the churches, and in India it was in the framework of the World Syriac Conference that we first time had the opportunity to meet each other. I learned how much you are a person with passion for a real and direct human interaction, and this is very impressive because it's not so often we meet people like you who are willing and able to have direct contact with normal human beings and believers in their churches. So I'm very happy that I can use this occasion to say a word of greetings for a book that is important to know for ecumenical dialogue. It's the thesis that was done by the Metropolitan Matthews Severius of the Kandanat West Diocese of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church. And Matthews Severius wrote this book already a quarter of a century ago. That means 25 years ago in Rome, when he was working with Ortis de Urbina, and that was still, as usual, when we are working on Philoxenos, in the shadow of de Alleux and his big researches on Mar Philoxenos. Philoxenos, everyone has to know when he wants to know the position of the Syrian tradition, Syrian Orthodox tradition about Christology. He's not just an author for Christology, he's an author for a lot of questions, and very important for the context of rediscovery and reinterpreting of Ephraim the Syrian, and also a key figure of the Syrian Orthodox tradition in their fights with the Byzantine Church and the Chalcedonian understanding of Christology. So fighting for this Miaphysite approach, Philoxenos is the key person of all Syrian churches that are still part of the Miaphysite family. So to see what Philoxenos is teaching in questions of Christology, it's a question that should be known, and the argument should be known not just by Syriacs who are already growing up in a context of Miaphysite milieu. It's also something that has to be known by people outside of the Syrian context, means by Europeans, Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox from different churches. Because when we want to find a way, what is your way to be with Christ, to understand Christ as the Christian way of thinking God, with whom we have the only way to think about God, then we need to know the position of the others. And there is not such a precise way of understanding this way of Christology in the context of the Chalcedonian discussions than with the arguments of Mar Philoxenos. So the book make accessible these ideas through the work of the Metropolitan of the West Diocese of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church, and I would encourage everyone to read this book also as an effort to find a common ground on the ground of research in antique topics for ecumenical understanding, for finding solutions that might be in the future unites us. So you see, the book is in the yellow color of one of my series. It's already more than 50 books are in this series I brought out, and I hope that it can be read everywhere in the world. It's in English, so not in German, much more accessible to the world than the research we do normally here in Germany. And I know already that people from the US ordered the book to read it and to use it for their theological arguments. I wish that this book might find people who are willing to listen to other positions, who try to understand how these positions came into being and where they have their special profile in the interaction with the other traditions of Christianity. So my congratulations to the author, that's Metropolitan of the Kandahar West Diocese of the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church, as well as to the whole church of the church in India, that with this book you did an important contribution to the ecumenical dialogue.